the last time you'll hear this particular composition by Alex Arango. As I've said before, Alex was one of the recipients of our club's Lee Weimer's Emerging Artist Awards last month. He was born in Colombia. He's an audio engineer, an educator, and a musician. Besides the cash award, sharing his music with you is done to show that we Rotarians admire and support him and all artists. And along those lines, I'd like to send out a big shout out to Lisa Millette, who's working to raise funds for all artists in our area. She sent us an email seeing if we could participate in some way. So good luck to Lisa. Speakers, please stay within your assigned time limit so you do not negatively impact the timing of other speakers after you. Thank you very much. Welcome, fellow Rotarians and guests, to meeting number 5275. Today's birthday boy is Matt Mahan, founder of Brigade Group in San Francisco. Matt was elected to District 10, San Jose City Council, in the primaries earlier this year. So he missed out on all the fun leading up to the November 3rd elections. Happy birthday, Matt. And this is Rotary Foundation Month, in case you hadn't heard. And we'll hear from Sarah Klisch later on today. It's one of those things that we need to know more about, and that's I've asked the foundation committee and board to address our members more often so that we can understand that it's the contributions that we give that give the money, that raises the money to give to the committees, who then have to go out and do the work that they do. So really critical that we be supportive of the foundation. I was surprised that a great many individuals, Rotarians in our club, do not contribute to the foundation, and I was, well, frankly shocked and disappointed. So I'm hoping that that is because they don't know much about what we do with the foundation's contributions that you give. So I've asked them to please address us a bit more often than just once a year. Well, let's see. We've got retired attorney and past president Gary Shera. He's going to do the eulogy for our dear friend Rick Romney, who passed away earlier this year, September of this year. Gary, are you ready to go? Come in, Gary Shera.
I'm right here, Fernando, and thank you very much. Thank you, President Fernando. I'm honored to give Rick's eulogy, a man who introduced me to Rotary and who sponsored me in 2000. We are joined by Rick's wife of 43 years, the lovely Hannelore, and daughter Vivian. Leslie has inserted a link in the bulletin to Rick's obituary that appeared in the Mercury News on October 11. It's very well done, and I recommend it to you. You'll learn much about Rick as a man of the world with close friends around the globe. You will learn about this boy whose family left Ogden, Utah, and relocated to Vienna, Austria, just in time for Rick to climb a lamppost to watch Hitler arriving during the Anschluss. You will learn about the return trip by the family in 1939 to Los Angeles. Rick told me there was another family on board the steamer that was bound for New York, and that was the Von Trapp family. Yes, that family who eventually settled in Vermont. Rick's obituary speaks about his life in San Jose, his professional achievements, his global travels with Hannelore at his side, and his great passion for Rotary. It's this passion for Rotary that I would like to especially honor in my eulogy. Rick's love of Rotary was first nurtured by his uncle, Dave Romney, as a young man. Rick first joined Rotary in Solingen, Germany in 1969. Shortly after he and Hannelore married, Rick joined the Rotary Club of San Jose and thus began a 42-year celebration of all things Rotary. Rick and Hannelore became a fixture at Rotary events and programs. And not just those of our club, but of the district and Rotary International. Before it was fashionable, Rick devoted countless hours working with the clubs of the district, who were always looking for speakers for their programs. Rick used his contacts and resources as a longtime member of the program committee to help these clubs. The district called it Rick's Picks. It was just his way. He saw a need and filled it. His love of Rotary directly impacted my Rotary career. If it's true what they say about Tommy Lasorda, and keep him in your prayers, he's in the ICU, the Hall of Fame manager of the LA Dodgers, that he bleeds Dodger blue, it is also true that Rick bled Rotary Royal Blue and Gold. In 1999, Rick and I were members of the San Jose Athletic Club. I saw him at the club, but we had not met. One day, I'm shaving, and for some reason left the water running. Rick comes right up to me and says, "You know, we're in a drought. You really shouldn't leave the water running." Now, if you know Rick, he can be very direct. I looked at him, and it occurred to me that he's right. So I said, "You know, you're right." And I turned off the water. The very next words out of Rick's mouth were, "Have you ever heard of Rotary?" That started my introduction into Rotary, and Rick sponsored me in 2000. Rick and Honolulu were dedicated supporters of our gala and foundation. Rick attending in his tux, complete with top hat and silk scarf. I think somewhere there's a picture of our president in Rick's top hat. And Honolulu beautifully dressed. Rick served our club as a member of the board of directors and a foundation trustee. Until age took over, he was a fixture at our Wednesday meetings. I'm going to close by saying that as honored as I am to give this eulogy for Rick, I did not want to be first choice. That honor was for George Tilson, who would be giving this eulogy. George was like family to Rick and Honolulu. We have lost two wonderful Rotarians. Another wonderful Rotarian who must have the last word on this eulogy is our beloved John Popovich, Pop, who said of Rick, "If you ever found yourself in dire need and had only one phone call to make, call Rick Romney. He will be there for you." Rest in peace, Rick.
Thank you, Jeremy, and farewell to Rick. Next, we have Steve Ellenberg, trial lawyer with Hopkins and Carley, who will present his family's the Cindy Ellenberg Humanitarian Award. Steve.
Thank you, President Fernando, and I hope everyone can hear me.
Yes.
Susan, my mother Maureen, and I are so pleased to honor my father's memory with the Sandy Ellenberg Humanitarian Award. There's a nice plaque that commemorates this award that will be presented during this meeting to our honoree, along with a $5,000 contribution to Rotary in the name of the honoree for use in one or more of our humanitarian committees. This financial award is funded by my mother, Maureen, who is on the Zoom with us. Two things about my father that I would like to highlight this year. First, he loved Rotary and loved this club. I don't think he ever missed a meeting. And every time I tell my mom I have joined this or that committee, my mom will invariably say, "Oh, your father was on that committee." Second, in times like today, I really miss my father's quiet, persistent commitment to justice. That commitment led him to form the Rotoplas Committee at our club and took him to South and Central America to do cleft lip and palate surgeries, as many as possible. It meant providing scholarship money to students to attend Cal, and it meant to talking to political leaders, community members, and other doctors about the importance of making healthcare available for everyone. So this year, I'm honored to give the Sandy Ellenberg Humanitarian Award to a Rotarian who I firmly believe combines that same love of Rotary with a persistent, although maybe not quiet, pursuit of justice. Our past president, Karen Sununu Towry. Karen's love of Rotary and commitment to our club is unparalleled. A member since 2002, Karen has served as both president of the Rotary Foundation as well as club president. She has done 5 Rotoplas trips to India, Brazil, Guatemala, Mexico, and the Dominican Republic. She has done 2 trips to deliver wheelchairs to Panama and Mexico City. Karen's commitment to Rotary was on full display this past Rotary year. Keeping Rotarians engaged with goofy vignettes while we tried to figure out how to have meetings during the initial shutdown and before anyone could figure out how to use Zoom. And more importantly, champion our club's response to COVID through the acquisition of a bus for Catholic Charities to distribute food and other necessities for those in need. Karen's love of Rotary is matched by her persistent pursuit of justice. Karen joined the district attorney's office after law school, and I'm pleased that our district attorney, Jeff Rosen, has joined us today. Karen had a stellar career, first as a top-line prosecutor, and then in management, where she increased the office's diversity and wrote a book on hate crimes. Her advocacy for victims led our district attorney, Jeff Rosen, to name the Courage Award given to victims every year after Karen. You know, I'm a civil lawyer, and most of my cases are about money. So I really admire lawyers who prosecute crimes and lawyers who defend the accused. But the most courageous lawyers, I believe, are those very few attorneys who pursue justice on behalf of those who have actually been convicted of crimes, because our society doesn't treat those people as well. And it is here where Karen's efforts take it to another level. While at the district attorney's office, Karen directed the investigation that ultimately led to the release and finding of factual innocence for Rick Walker in 2003, who had been convicted of murder 12 years earlier. And it is Karen's commitment to justice is best exemplified by the 6 years she has spent following her retirement, investigating, as always a volunteer, investigating and securing the release of Jeremy Puckett, a man who had been wrongfully convicted of murder in March of 2002. Karen's investigation revealed hundreds of pages of evidence withheld from Puckett and his lawyers that ultimately that exonerated him. And Mr. Puckett regained his freedom on March 13, 2020, just 1 week before the COVID shutdowns, possibly saving his life. In addition to her commitment to Rotary and justice, Karen is the proud mother of Alex and Melissa and grandmother to Emma, Alex, and Wilson. I was stunned that she was a grandparent. I'd like to ask her husband and fellow Rotarian, the Honorable James Towery, to come in and present the award. Karen, you were one of my father's favorite Rotarians, and he was so committed to the idea of providing a sense of freedom for those people on whom he performed surgeries. The freedom that you've provided to others is unmeasurable. It is my honor and my family's honor to present you with this year's Sandy Ellenberg Humanitarian Award.
Yeah. Steve, thank you so much. Jim just brought this into the kitchen. Thank you so much. And Maureen and Susan and Steve, Sandy really put me on my Rotary journey. He encouraged me to go to that first trip to India, and it really changed me forever. So I thank you deeply for this. And Maureen, I'm really sorry about all those mean things I said about Steve last year. Thank you.
What a wonderful tribute. Thank you very much. It's just very moving, and you so deserve it, Karen. You were a wonderful president and a wonderful friend. Thank you. Next, we have a new member introduction. Helen Lambert and I sponsored Valerie Bernice as our newest Rotarian. Hello, Valerie, are you there? Come in, Valerie, unmute. Did we confirm that she was going to be on today?
I don't see her.
Yeah, I don't hear her. Certainly disappointed, and I'm sorry that we're going to have to invite her to come back in December. Well, maybe next week, if we can do it next week. Well, let's move on then. Go to our blue badge presentations. Rosemary Van Laer, she's with the San Jose Public Library. Brian Burke, he's with eBay. Pat Riley, he's the Vice President of Software Sales for Trovo. He may not be here with us because he's got jury duty, but congratulations to Rosemary and Brian and Pat on completing your year as a new member. You will certainly receive your blue badge when we return to the Summit Center in person, which I hope will be soon. But for now, we want to thank you for your continued service to our community and to our club. Congratulations to all three of you. Next, we've got Sarah Klisch with Ameriprise Financial, and she's the chair of the subcommittee of our Rotary Foundation's contributions. She's got an update for us. I mentioned earlier that we need to know more about what our foundation does and where that money goes. So Sarah, if you don't mind, take it away.
I'm delighted to, President Fernando. Thank you very much. So many of you know that the foundation does a once a year ask, official ask. Those letters went out in October. And so we have been gradually getting contributions in from our membership. So I wanted to take a moment just to share with you, in the event that you are not familiar with what some of those contributions fund. There are two separate entities that make up our Rotary, San Jose Rotary, the club board and the foundation board. And the foundation board is responsible to be the fiduciary for the money that is raised, both through the official campaign that we do annually, as well as charitable contributions that you all make through the fine opportunity rings, the contributions that people may make as bequeaths in their will, etc. All of that money gets pooled, it's invested, it grows, and then we use a mathematical formula. It comes out to about 5% of a certain amount of proceeds that then goes to fund activities for the club, as well as contributions that we make in the committee. So I just got done chairing the Community Grants Committee, and I had a great group of people, Rotarians, that helped me out. We won't be able to tell you today who the recipients are because it has to be approved by the foundation board tomorrow. But this thermometer that you see on the screen is meant to measure the participation rate so far this year for the donation campaign. And so as you can see, of the total membership of our club, just a little over 25% of our members have made a contribution through the annual donation so far this year. We recognize as the foundation board that there are some club members that are going to be financially in a position where making their contribution this year may have to be foregone. But for those of you that maybe just couldn't find the invoice or meant to do something about it and haven't yet taken that opportunity, I would strongly encourage you to fill it out, either put your credit card on there or send a check. This little sign that's up talks about required minimum distributions. Those of you who have to take them know you actually didn't have to take one this year because you got a reprieve. But since your accounts have grown so mightily since March, you might take this opportunity to shave some of that money off, make a contribution to the foundation, which will be completely tax-free to you if you do it right. And I'll be happy to tell you how to do that offline. Because it's only going to contribute to what you have to take out next year for required minimum distributions and potentially be taxed. So please make sure that we see this barometer go up. We'd love to see 100% participation from everybody in the club at some level. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sarah. That was a very clear explanation of why it's important for our club members to understand the functions of the foundation. It operates to help the committees fund the projects that they take on. It helps us with our project, with our efforts with fire victims, flood victims, people in earthquakes and so on. So that's the avenue that we have. We don't do it through the club board, we do it through the foundation board. And so all of us are asked to please contribute. Now, I understand there are people who are not in a position to do that, but my understanding is that our contributions by our members over the years has continually declined, and we want to put an end to that. We want our club to be as generous as we know we are, and whether you give us $25 or $100 or more, it all adds up, and that is what we're looking for. So thank you very much, Sarah, for the good work you've done. Next, let me say a real quick word about Dave Peterson. He's with California Sports Center, who has about 200 children that he teaches physical education to, and they are having some financial problems because of these shutdowns that we keep having, and we're in the purple rain right now, and it's just very difficult. He wanted us to know that Adolfo Gomez, who you met last month, is the father of our Interact Club president, his daughter at Lincoln High School. Her name is Ayaz Gomez. She's a leader in that club, uses technology to keep the students involved in the club and participating in district events such as the Fall Leadership Conference. They wanted you to know that they are already an amazing Rotary family. So thank you, Dave, for bringing that up to me. Now, we have with us the daughter of our recently deceased beloved Bob Kieve, Lenoir Kieve. She will be taking over her father's program, keeping up his memory and reminding us of what a wonderful contributor he was to our entire community. Lenoir retired from the hotel industry and is one of our new Rotarians. And so, Lenoir, I want you to introduce Bob Kieve's Thanksgiving Day program speakers. Would you take it over?
Yes. Hello, and welcome to the Bob Kieve Thanksgiving program. 2020 has been a tough year. We lost my dad, Bob Kieve, and some other loved ones have lost people. COVID has changed all of our lives and had an impact on us. And honestly, Gay Crawford and I were a little worried when the program came up that we might not find enough volunteers to speak on the subject of gratitude during such a difficult year. But we have 11 wonderful participants this year, and I don't think that there has ever been a better time to be reminded of what we do have. So thank you to this year's participants for reminding us that there is still so much for which we should be grateful. And starting us off this year is Rod Dierdon.
Okay, Rod, you're on. Unmute. Well, let's go to Greg Yoder and maybe we can pick up on Rod afterwards. Greg, can you do it?
I'm here.
All right, well, come on in, boy.
Well, so, you know, when they mute me from the center, they need to unmute me from the center. Let's proceed then. I apologize. Lenoir, congratulations to you on conducting a very good program, and thank you for being here for us and being a new Rotarian. Bob Kieve was a true giant, all 5'4" of him. He began a spectacular near century of life in New Jersey, where he was identified as both intellectually and athletically gifted. He graduated early with honors from Harvard, joined what later became known as Radio Free Europe in World War II Spain, the blueprint for which he authored, and was later honored with the equivalent of a Spanish knighthood. President Eisenhower recruited him as a speechwriter, and we've all enjoyed Bob's description of Ike's detailed corrections on Bob's drafts. Bob and technical wizard Vince LaPopolo purchased San Jose's KLIV in 1967, creating Empire Broadcasting Corporation. They were greeted by youthful John McLeod, who later followed Bob as Rotary president. Their commercial successes were augmented by a cadre of mostly Rotary friends who have led a life of impactful community service. Bob's last challenge was to liquidate Empire Broadcasting Corporation while continuing to support Nate Deaton's success with KRTY, California's top country western station. Bob was immensely proud that new Rotarian, Bob would be immensely proud, I'm sure he is immensely proud, that new Rotarian Lenoir Kieve is chairing his renowned Thanksgiving program. I choose to remember Bob Kieve during a program for discussion group in the mid-1980s. It is in his impeccably tailored three-piece suit, button-down collar, and trademark bow tie. Bob was on top of the big Empire Broadcasting Corporation conference table, head thrown back, his more mature but still champion sprinter's reflexes, demonstrating his friend El Greco's flamenco lessons from wartime Spain. His polished wingtips pounding out the syncopated beat with the castanets in both hands over his head. His twinkling eyes telling us that there's much more to life than meets the eye if you've the courage to share. Rest in peace, Bob. We'll be with you soon to help the Almighty get organized to heal our troubled world.
Amen. Well, Thanksgiving greetings, fellow Rotarians and guests. The Yoder family has much to be thankful for during this difficult COVID year. We have been blessed with continued good health, Everyone, thankfully, is fully employed, and we've had plenty of safe contact with friends and family. And to Pam and my delight, we added our 5th and 6th beautiful grandchildren over the past few months. We really could not ask for more. However, when pressed to think hard as to what am I truly thankful for, it actually came very easily. You see, each evening when I'm ready to retire, I head to the bathroom, brush my teeth, then I go to my room where I sit on my bedside. I put on my cozy sleeping socks, pull up my long johns, and then a comfortable pajama top. Then I climb in under this warm flannel sheet, as Pam's normally gone to bed ahead of me, and it's all warmed up. Then there's a blanket and topped off with a cozy down comforter. I lie down, I pull up those wonderful layers up to my chin, and I literally sigh with complete satisfaction. I feel like I'm in heaven. I pause, and the first thoughts, then words of my prayer is, thank you, Lord, for this roof over my head and this warm, comfortable, safe bed to rest in. I'm smiling from ear to ear, full of gratitude and thanksgiving at that moment. I realize that I have all that I need. Then, without failing, I start thinking of all the people around the world, in our city and on our streets, who are not able to experience this delightful pleasure. And there are billions. I literally find myself grieving for those in need, then asking God to meet their needs while expressing my deep, sincere thankfulness for another day in this place to lay my head. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
All right, good day. Hard act to follow. My name is Christine Burrows, and I am a proud Rotarian. As I reflect on gratitude this Thanksgiving year, I realize now more than ever how much I lean on my God, from whom all blessings flow. And I'm especially thankful in these times that character and values are still considered important and worth cultivating and fighting for. I am grateful that family members live close by and we are able to spend quality time with each other, especially awesome grandchildren who are a constant joy and surprise. I also so appreciate dear friends who help me to grow and see life from many different perspectives. I am reminded often how fortunate we are to live in an area of relative safety and where sunny days are abundant and a variety of arts events are available to lift up our hearts and souls. I am happy that I still have a passion about injustice, the poor, and especially disadvantaged youth. I thank God that I still have the energy to remain involved with nonprofit organizations who make such a difference in helping to ensure a better quality of life for all here in our valley. And lastly, I am ever grateful for 17 years as a San Jose Rotary Club member, along with my son, Josh. Together, we all instill trust, cooperation, and goodwill throughout our local community and even globally. Together, we bless many, and as a result, we are all blessed ourselves. So wishing you a happy Thanksgiving from the Burrows family to all your families. And I sure miss all those hugs.
Oh, I'm Linda Gold, and I just want to say, God bless Bob Kieve. 16 years ago, Bob asked me to be part of this program, and it was my first year in Rotary, and he hit me up at an incredibly vulnerable time. I was one of those moms who, as a last-ditch effort to try to save her child, had those men come in the middle of the night and send my 17-year-old son away with strangers to a wilderness camp in Idaho in hopes that he would get sober. I came before you scared and grateful, just a few days before I was to fly to Idaho to see him after a long no communication 6-week stint. After telling my story here, at Rotary, several of you told me your own family stories of addiction and sorrow and triumph. And I'm so grateful for my family of friends who helped me get through this dark time. Fast forward, my son has walked a long and rocky road, and it's not always been a straight path, and it's not always been easy on our relationship. But I'm eternally grateful today to say that he is sober, started his own business, married, has 2 beautiful and love-filled children who call me Nina. And the reason I've left San Jose and moved to Minnesota 2 years ago. It's been a tough transition, especially in sub-zero winters. But I am grateful to have the blessing of these dollies in my life. You've all given me the opportunity to serve in Ghana on a Polio Plus mission, and that country is now polio free. You've given me the awesome opportunity also to serve on 7 Faces of Hope missions to Guatemala, during which hundreds of children have received cleft lip, cleft palate surgery, and their lives and their families' lives forever changed. Bob made a difference, and we too make a difference. And I'm truly grateful Rotary ensures that we can continue to make the world a better place. Happy Thanksgiving, my friends.
Well, I would say this is Randy Zeckman. I would say I might be most thankful for the fact that I'm sharing the stage with these 10 great folks. I was a rural Ohio kid growing up in a sleepy town, 1 stoplight town. It was Hicksville. And if I wasn't out playing sports, I was catching crawdads at the creek, literally. And somehow I found my way to San Jose, and I am so thankful that I've made it to a place that I can call home for the rest of my life. I think about this all the time, actually. I enjoy everything about this community, from being a part, from all of you allowing me to be part of the greatest Rotary in the world, to being part of a business community that is unlike no other in the world, to all the artistic endeavors that occur here. I've been a Burning Man guy for many years, and without being here, I would have never participated in that. So much so that I now have a 9-year-old, and she and I, during COVID, have been building our mermaid mobile so we can attend Burning Man whenever the world opens up again. And so it's this kind of world-changing mentality that I think we all live in here, and that maybe sometimes we forget the rest of the world is not like San Jose and Silicon Valley. An example would be Urban Confluence, Steve and John Ball's endeavors to bring a new landmark to this area. I've been talking to Steve for 20 years about this, and I'm very impassioned on the topic, so much so that I actually submitted an idea this year for that competition. Although we weren't picked, I'm super happy that our community will move forward and have a great landmark that we can impress the world with. The second thing I'd say I'm super grateful for is discovering my 9-year-old daughter has dyslexia. So many of you know that last year our family took a 6-month trip around the world. During that time, we were teaching our children, world schooling them. And when you teach your children, as opposed to just do homework with them, you understand their learning abilities at a much different level, and this is how we discovered it. We found the best teacher that I've ever seen who has tutored her, and she's had amazing growth. We've continued to world school this year, and that's probably been my greatest joy of 2020. During this process, interestingly, I've also discovered that I have dyslexia, which is an interesting thing to find out when you're 51 years old. So I'm thankful to all of you, and thanks for letting me be part of your community.
Hi, thank you so much for the opportunity to participate in today's Thanksgiving. I am grateful to be a part of something that honors Bob. We all miss him so very much. I am thankful for many things in my life, despite having a complicated and challenging childhood. When reflecting on what I am grateful for, my two daughters come to mind and heart first, although they are not what I want to share with you today. I am most thankful for the capacity for gratitude itself. I have a daily practice of gratitude that has carried me through many hard times in my life. And although it is not perfect, my ability to think beyond all of the fears and heartaches of the moment and focus on the gifts that are all around me has lifted me up many times. This practice started with an experience I had when I was 30 years old. It was January 27th, 1997, and I was working as a full-time actor. I had a very bad headache that day that no amount of Advil would touch. 2 days and 3 spinal taps later, it was discovered that I had had a subarachnoid hemorrhage of unknown etiology. This is a type of brain aneurysm that causes bleeding into the space between the brain and the skull. It is very rare, with fewer than 200,000 cases a year in the US, and the mortality rate is very high. I was told at that time only 5 to 10% of the people survive this type of aneurysm, but for those that do survive without any damage, 99% live their lives without any further problems or complications from the episode. I was given a second chance, and it changed my life. It changed the way I saw things and made me realize that every day counts. Everything we touch, smell, see, hear, feel, have, our experiences, our relationships, our families, the comforts around us, our abilities, all are a gift. So yes, my daughters, Sophie and Olivia, come to my mind first, but they would not be here if January 27th, 1997 had turned out differently. So I am eternally thankful for gratitude. Happy Thanksgiving and thank you.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. I'm Pam Foley. 2020, what a year. With the pandemic, millions getting sick and dying, the protests shedding a light on systemic racism, wildfires destroying the homes, lives, and businesses, not to mention the economic crisis resulting from COVID, you might ask, what is there to be thankful for this year? But there is plenty. As I ponder my gratitude for the year, I am mindful of how I am blessed. I am thankful for my knee surgeon, Dr. Sangvi, who enabled me to improve my quality of life with a knee replacement in July. After my election, my knee was so damaged that I could barely walk half a block. Today, I'm walking without pain, and I'm no longer distracted by the pain that I suffer daily. I am grateful that interest rates are so low, enabling my mortgage company to thrive and actually required that we add more staff to our payroll. I'm grateful to my Foley mortgage team for taking care of our clients and handling things at the office, allowing me to focus on my work at City Hall. I'm thankful for the first responders, medical personnel, and essential service workers that are helping us get through the pandemic, putting their own health and life at risk. While we have all had to adapt with dealing with the pandemic, and I miss dreadfully in-person meetings, I am appreciative that I have dependable Wi-Fi and that my family is healthy and working. This is not the case for many of our residents, so I am grateful for all of the nonprofits that stepped up their efforts to provide food, shelter, and services to our neighbors in need. 2020, it's been a year to remember. In some, it's actually brought out the worst of behavior. But most in our community has shown tremendous generosity, kindness, and a willingness to improve the world around us. Let us take that generosity forward into 2021. Let us be mindful of our blessings, and let us go forward with kindness. Thank you, and happy Thanksgiving.
Fellow Rotarians and friends, I'm Karen Philbrick, and it's my honor to participate in this special Thanksgiving program and to be a part of this phenomenal club. I've been a member for over 10 years, and this is the first year that I've participated, and I do so in honor of my parents, Chris and Arlene Philbrick, who are joining us today from Ukiah, California. My love of Rotary started when I was still a child, as my dad has been a Rotarian for many decades and is the past president of the South Ukiah Club. As I thought about the many gifts I have in my life, I realized that the one constant in every scenario is my parents and their unwavering support and unconditional love for me. A love I could never comprehend until I had my own precious little girl, Charlie. My parents have inspired me in separate and unique ways. My mom dedicated her life to being a homemaker, selflessly caring for her 3 girls, and supporting the family as we moved across country for my dad's job. First from California to Pennsylvania, then to Alabama, and finally a return home to California, where our extended family resides. At the time of the moves, I didn't realize how difficult it must have been for them to say yes to opportunity and yes to adventure and to move our family across country. But with each of these moves, I grew as a person. I learned the importance of family and valuing that incredible bond. But the most important lesson I learned from my parents is resilience and the ability to find meaning from tragedy. You see, Kelly, my older sister and the middle child of our family, was tragically killed in a car accident. I was just about 16. I had no capacity to understand the depths of the grief my parents experienced. I was focused on my own sadness and confusion, but my parents found a way. They found a way forward. They provided structure and emotional support for my oldest sister and for me. No parent should ever have to suffer that unspeakable loss, and no family is ever prepared, but they persevered. They took care of each other, they took care of us, and our family unit remained intact, unlike many. And in that way, like so many others, they beat the odds. In fact, in September, they celebrated 56 years of marriage, an achievement that only 6% of married couples reach. I'm so thankful they're my role models. I'm thankful for our Kelly, my beloved sister, who taught me to treasure life, live in the moment, and to care deeply for others. And for those lessons, I honor my parents and my sister at this program. And I wish you all a safe and happy Thanksgiving, friends. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Heather Lerner. I have always loved being in the forest, but this year I'm especially thankful for our wooded spaces, and I don't think I'm the only one. Several best-selling book titles this year proclaim forest appreciation. My favorite is Forest Bathing. Doesn't that sound nice? Like an effortless touch-free spa experience? I put this into practice, soaking in heat-released redwood scents while gazing up at a forest canopy, and even found the elusive daytime owl while in my tree bath. When the forest started catching fire, again this summer, my gratitude for them grew even deeper. I breathed in a soot-filled sigh of relief as some of my favorite woods and camps were mercifully passed over. I also grieved heavily when a favorite burnt to the ground, taking the visitor center, kitschy cross-cut logo milestones, and all the memories with it. However, gratitude replaced sadness, seeing the overwhelming public support to rebuild and reforest. There's a large LED sign on the side of Highway 1 proclaiming daily that Muir Woods is sold out. So is Yosemite, Sequoia, Kings Canyon. So I know others are starved for more forest in their diets. When you were a kid, were the woods ever sold out? Can you imagine your parents phoning in for reservations? I'd like a grove for 6, please. What do you mean you're sold out of groves for 6? You only have a small hillock for 2? Not even a nice dell for 4? Fine, we'll take the hillock. It brings me both pleasure and annoyance to see this sign. Pleasure because I know others are appreciating beautiful old trees, but annoyance that there's a waiting list for nature's bliss. I can't imagine a better time to express thankfulness for our woods, knowing that I'm not alone in appreciating these magnificent, restorative, and on-the-brink places. I hope your favorite stand of trees is not sold out or burnt down, but filled with daytime owls and your own personal bubble of cedar-scented forest wonder. Happy Thanksgiving.
Hello, I am Carmen Roman. This year, I have been reflecting on how much privilege I have. I live in a 3-bedroom house with an amazing husband and my 2 cats. I have a garden. I have privacy. I was able to have stable internet, 3 meals, and be quarantined while still keeping my job. Well, I am very aware that this privilege is not for most Latinos in California or in the world. And definitely, it was not for me when I was born. I was born in Guadalajara, Mexico, in a very humble area where we didn't have running water, electricity, and sometimes we even didn't have money to eat. I am very grateful for my parents who were loving and cheerleading, for that teacher in 3rd grade that told me that I could be a PhD when there was no reason to believe that, for that uncle that taught me about the world and how family is important, for people who helped me with money to go to college, and for every person who believed in me. I had so many opportunities because people decided to support me. So I'm inspired to keep my Latino community, to keep helping. So every time you see a person of color in disadvantage, please believe that they have resources and believe that they only need you to help and to believe in them for them to thrive. Happy Thanksgiving.
As we look back on the year 2020, one may become jaded to the point of being incapable of finding anything worth being thankful for. And yet they are there and they are plentiful, those small S sacraments that take place in our lives. Sometimes they're major life events, and other times something seemingly small that make a big difference to us or to others. I'm most thankful this year for the birth of our granddaughter, Ella, and the continued health and growth of our grandson, Lincoln. They both exude joy and give us hope for a better tomorrow. I'm also thankful that both of those children each have wonderful, loving, caring parents who have faith and family central to their lives. And I'm thankful for more than 38 years of marriage to my wonderful wife, Gina. I'm thankful for my weekly Zoom visits with my brother and for the technology that allows the distance from Los Angeles and San Jose, or between just about any 2 locations, to be insignificant, allowing for most significant connections, face-to-face, even though it's screen-to-screen. I'm thankful for receiving an occasional text message, email, or phone call from folks who just want to check in to see how we're doing, and thankful to be able to respond that we're doing well. I'm thankful for the gift of friendship, which includes so many Rotarians, all too many of whom we've lost in recent months and years. Among them, Phil Sims and Bill Del Biagio, Georgie Tilson, and Bob Kieve, just to name a few. And although physically gone, their goodness, the great conversations, and their modeling of decency and humanity remain with us, attributes which transcend time and place. I'm thankful for a career that has purpose and to be surrounded by the Jesuit ethos that encourages us to find God in all things, or if you prefer, to find the good in all things. As I have often said, when we are on the other side of this pandemic, may we take fewer things and fewer people for granted. So be assured of my very best wishes and prayers for a holiday season filled with hope and love, and I thank you so much for your gift of friendship.
Wow. Thank you, Rotarians, and thank you, Lenoir, for putting together a very moving and inspiring program. I thought that for a minute there, Heather was going to talk about Forrest Gump, but no. This program is always one of our members' favorite events as we briefly learn more about our members and what is important in their lives. It brings us closer together as a club, as Rotarians, as citizens in this wonderful land in this wonderful country. I have to tell you, I'm certainly grateful for the privileges I've been given, hearing Carmen relate her challenges and where she has arrived. You can see that it's worthwhile to be kind and to be generous to other people, to help them rise and help them become their highest self. All of us have a great many reasons to be thankful and grateful. So don't forget to help our clubs, foundations drive by contributing what you can. You saw Sarah Klisch give you an example of it. We're going to invite them back in a couple months again to tell us more so that we can be inspired to contribute. Next week, of course, is Thanksgiving, so we will be dark on Wednesday. That means that there's no meeting on Wednesday. But we will meet again on the following Wednesday, December 2nd, at which time our program speaker will be Killian. I don't know if you remember her from when she used to be with the Mercury News, but she is a sports columnist. She grew up in Mill Valley, graduated from Columbia University's journalism master's program. She's an award-winning sports columnist and a veteran of 11 Olympics, several World Cups, soccer, and of course the bicycle Tour de France. And after working here at the Mercury, she joined the San Francisco Chronicle in 2012, and she will be speaking on the future of sports, especially now that we can't see them other than on TV, and very few of us are able to join them in person in the stadiums. So for now, happy Thanksgiving. In Spanish we say Feliz Día de Acción de Gracias, which again is a way of saying Thanksgiving. And so, my friends, this Zoom meeting is adjourned. Thank you for being with us, and thank you for the many grateful things that you do for our community. Until December 2nd, hasta la vista, Rotarians.
Hasta la vista.
Happy Thanksgiving. Greg, thank you very much.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you, Fernando.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks, Carmen.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, everyone.
All right.
Happy holidays, everybody.
It's so good to see you all.
Sure, yes. Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Happy
Neighbor,
holidays.
see you later. Thank you, Carmen.
Yes.
Feliz Día de las Gracias.
Bye, and thank you.
Hey, congratulations, Karen.
Congratulations, Karen. Well deserved.
Congratulations.
Bye.